Moving on, and earlier this year we brought you the story of Kerry Arch, one of thousands of single mums who'd had their welfare benefits cut. So now, 6 months on, how is she coping? How big an election issue is it? And are the politicians even listening?
Today I'm placing all these bears that I've got here and toys just around the city to raise awareness of single parents being forced back into the workforce full time, leaving kids home alone.
When people can't put heating on to keep their kids warm, when people can't put food on their table, yeah, it's definitely putting kids into poverty.
In February, we met Kerry Arch, a single mum with 2 sons who'd been moved onto the dole as part of changes to welfare for single parents. With the stroke of a pen, Kerry was $200 a fortnight worse off.
To have to go to sort of like beg for food, it's humiliating.
Despite working part-time, living on Newstart has been tough. To save money, Kerry's cut back on health insurance, scrapped her life and trauma insurance, and had to rely on friends and her son's school for help. But it was hearing the stories from other parents that inspired her to set up the United Sole Parents of Australia support group.
I lost $120 a fortnight, and prior to the changes it was actually pretty hard already, but since the changes it's just been unbearable.
I have survived 2 eviction notices in the last 8 months. I'm afraid that we may face eviction again, and this time we may not come out on top.
There's women that are sleeping in their cars with their kids, living in shipping containers, going back to domestic violence situations.
She stays up until about 1 o'clock nearly every morning, trying to find out homes for people that have no house or no job or anything, and so she's feeling like it's her job to do it.
Under the changes, 84,000 sole parents, mostly women, are moved off parenting payments when their youngest child turns 8, saving taxpayers $700 million. A recent study showed almost 1 in 4 children from single-parent families live in poverty. And charities say that's growing.
As of last year, there's a 12% increase in the number of people who are on Newstart who are coming to us for help. We think a large part of that is due to single parents who've been pushed onto the Newstart payment and who are struggling to survive.
Welfare and even business groups have been calling for the Newstart allowance to be raised by $50 a week. As a backbencher, Kevin Rudd supported a rise, but in the heat of the election, both sides have been silent on the issue. Around the country, single parents are trying to get their voices heard in an election campaign that's being dominated by other issues.
We can't afford, a campaign to counteract what they've done and to show people, the wrongs that are happening.
Kerry's committed to making a difference, even if the politicians aren't listening.
I need to keep fighting until this is changed. It took 4 years when they actually got the pension for single parents. If it takes me 4 years, I'll still be there fighting.
Always, doesn't matter which kind of government, single parents are always the ones that get picked on. And, I grew up in a single parent family. We know 90% of single parents are mums, and this is an obvious change that Kevin Rudd could make. He said have a heart at the beginning of this year, and he hasn't fixed it, and no one's pledged to fix it.
Single mums are going back into domestic violence situations because that is a better option than living on what they're living on.
Domestic violence, homelessness, poverty, it's all linked. So, and it's really basic and easy for politicians to understand.
Well, I've got, there's no shortage of sectors of the community that they've decided to throw money at for their votes in this election. So you've seen the sausage made in politics, you've seen the meatworks. Why does this one group always get screwed politically?
It's always easiest to pick on the most vulnerable and those people who are powerless. So good on those women and men, but at the same time you notice that people are more scared of loud-sounding, powerful electorates, and single mums and single parents tend to be at the bottom.
And Kerry is doing an amazing job, and if you want more info on Kerry's group, just go to our website. All the details are there. It is time for a break now. We'll be back in a moment.